The truck's headlights carved a tunnel through the dark, Andrew's knuckles white on the wheel. On the passenger seat, a dusty shoebox he hadn't meant to bring back. He pulled the box open with one hand, the lid tearing free. Inside lay old letters, a tarnished locket, and a small leather-bound book, his wife's handwriting on the cover. A diary Elizabeth had never mentioned, dated from the years when their marriage felt unbreakable. Andrew tilted the page under the dome light and read Elizabeth's careful cursive. The baby lived. Claire took her. I told Andrew it was a miscarriage because
The baby lived.
he slammed the diary shut and pulled off the road, the engine idling as the weight of 30 years crashed around him.
She was alive all this time, and I never knew.
12 hours earlier, Andrew had no idea that a shoebox was about to rewrite the entire story of his marriage. The morning light had barely touched the porch when Nicole's sedan pulled into the driveway. She strode in without knocking, phone to her ear, and surveyed the boxes like a general inspecting a battlefield.
Dad, Aunt Claire's storage place is closing. I need all this gone now.
She waved at the towers of cardboard that had colonized his living room.
I can't deal. Work is insane. It's just junk. You'll take it to the auction? You're not busy, right?
Not busy. Just 70 with a garden that needed watering and a back that already ached.
He didn't say it. He just nodded, the way he'd been doing since Elizabeth died.
I'll take care of it, honey, same as always.
You're a lifesaver. Just dump it all at the yard. I don't care what it sells for.
Andrew's gaze lingered on a dusty shoebox wedged between a lamp and old magazines, but Nicole was already walking out. Andrew began hauling boxes from the garage, the morning sun throwing long shadows across the dusty floor. He paused when his fingers found a sealed shoebox. The packing tape yellowed and brittle.
Nicole, what's in this box? It's taped shut.
Probably old letters or nothing. Just toss it in the truck.
Toss it, like everything else from their life.
Andrew didn't argue. He placed the box on the passenger seat and went back for the rest. An hour later, the truck bed was full, and Nicole was tapping her watch.
Dad, hurry up! The auction starts in 30 minutes.
The engine turned over. The shoebox sat on the passenger seat like an unasked question. Andrew pulled out of the driveway, heading for the county auction yard, with no clue what rode beside him. The county auction yard was a dust-choked lot full of trucks, tarps, and other people's cast-offs. He signed the lot numbers on a clipboard, his daughter's inheritance reduced to cardboard and dust. The auctioneer's voice droned on, a prayer to cheap bargains and forgotten things. Andrew sat on a folding chair, watching his daughter's worthless stuff sell for pennies. Lot 72, a box of old kitchen towels, sold for $2.
Wait till Nicole hears. $43. She'll frame the receipt.
At the pay window, a clerk handed him 3 tens and some singles, total $43. He loaded the unsold boxes back into the truck, saving nothing for himself but the dust on his boots. The shoebox sat on the passenger seat exactly where he'd placed it that morning. He didn't touch it. He pulled out of the yard as the sun bled orange and headed home, a $43 secret on his seat. The darkness crept in as the miles passed, the shoebox still riding shotgun like a passenger who refused to speak.
That box. Nicole said it was nothing, but her nothing always had sharp edges.
At a red light, he reached over and pulled the box into his lap, the old tape crackling under his thumb. He tore the lid free. Inside lay old letters, a tarnished locket, and a small leather book with Elizabeth's initials. A diary. Elizabeth had never kept a diary that he knew of. The cover felt warm, as if it had been waiting.
What did you hide in here, Ellie?
The light turned green. He tossed the empty box onto the passenger seat and drove on, the diary now open on his lap. He thumbed the pages, the handwriting sharp and deliberate. Entries from 1992 filled the first pages.
1992. The year after we lost the baby. Why would she start writing then?
The truck rolled on into the night, the past unspooling on the seat beside him, one page at a time. He flipped past the quiet days until his fingers froze on a page dated March 17, 1994. Elizabeth's cursive filled the lines. I gave our daughter away today. Told Andrew she was stillborn, but she was perfect. Claire arranged it all. Her name is Olivia.
Olivia. She named her Olivia, our daughter.
The words swam. He read them again, then a third time, hoping repetition would turn them into a lie.
She lied. For 30 years. Elizabeth lied to me.
He yanked the wheel and the truck shuddered onto the shoulder, gravel spitting under the tires.
I have another daughter. She's out there, alive.
His hands shook on the wheel. Elizabeth's young face rose in his mind, smiling, holding a baby he never got to hold.
She let me grieve a child that was never in that grave.
He sat there, engine off, the diary open on the passenger seat, the name Olivia burning back at him from the page. The truck crawled into the driveway past midnight, the house dark and unwelcoming. He left the shoebox on the passenger seat, carrying only the diary inside like a fragile grenade.
Nowhere is safe for this. Not the drawer with old tax papers. Not the attic.
In his bedroom, he slid the diary into the nightstand drawer, under Elizabeth's old letters where it would stay hidden. Then he faced her photograph on the dresser, the smile he had trusted through 30 years of silence.
You gave away our child and called it a loss.
He retreated to the porch, the rocking chair creaking under a grief that had no name and no grave.
I will find her. I have to.
By sunrise, a plan was taking shape, a desperate, quiet search for a woman who might not want to be found. He poured a cup of coffee and sat at the kitchen table, the weight of it all settling on his shoulders as he began to outline the first steps. The first week, he barely slept. 14 hours a day at the computer, scrolling through adoption registries that asked for credentials he didn't have.
Every site wants a name, a birth date, a case number. I have one word: Olivia.
At the county records office, a clerk behind bulletproof glass told him sealed adoptions don't open for curiosity, only court orders. Dozens of calls blurred into the same answer: we can't release that information. His own voice became a plea he didn't recognize.
Claire is dead. Elizabeth is dead. The only person who knows the truth is a stranger named Olivia.
The diary mentioned a doctor's name, a hospital, a notary. Each thread led to a phone number that rang into nothing. Day 14. He'd filed 3 formal requests and spent 62 hours chasing ghosts through miles of red tape.
I'm 70 years old. I buried a wife I don't recognize. I will not bury a daughter I've never met.
He returned to the kitchen table each morning, the diary open like a sacred wound, and started dialing again. One more call, one more no, then another. He had nothing left but the refusal to quit. On the 23rd morning, the phone rang at 6:15. A clerk with a quiet voice said she'd found something.
Olivia Reeves, paramedic, 414 Sycamore Lane, Apt 3B. She's real.
He unfolded the road atlas and traced the blue line with a finger that hadn't trembled like that since the funeral.
I can't mail the diary. I can't call. I have to go.
Dad, you're going to visit some friend for a few days? Since when do you have friends out of state?
He packed light, 2 shirts, the diary, and a hope he didn't dare name.
She might slam the door in my face. She might ask questions I can't answer.
He zipped the bag and stood up. There was no turning back now. The old pickup sat in the driveway, dew on the windshield, keys heavy in his hand. He slid behind the wheel, the diary on the passenger seat, the address folded beside it. The engine turned over, and he was gone. The highway stretched like a scar through the plains, and Andrew drove in silence, the diary riding shotgun like a living thing.
I keep seeing her face, the baby I never got to hold. Elizabeth's face when she told me it was over.
At a rest stop, he unfolded the paper with her address and stared at the name until his eyes blurred. By late afternoon, the city skyline appeared, tall buildings, unfamiliar streets, a knot of dread settling in his stomach. He checked into a budget motel on the edge of town, a room with thin walls and a bed that sagged under the weight of his regret. The diary lay on the nightstand like an accusation. He didn't need to open it. The words were burned into his mind.
Tomorrow morning, I'll knock on her door. What do I even say? I'm the father who never knew you existed.
Sleep wouldn't come. He paced, sat, stood again, rehearsing conversations that all felt like his own eulogy. Outside, a neon sign buzzed, its pink glow spilling across the threadbare carpet and his sleepless figure. At dawn, he showered, dressed in the same olive Henley, and slid the diary into his pocket. It was time. Andrew parked outside a mid-rise apartment block, its balconies empty in the early light, and sat clutching the diary until his pulse steadied. The hallway smelled of fresh paint and silence. Apartment 3B.
She's behind this door. 30 years of silence, and I'm about to break it.
He knocked. 3 short raps, too loud in the quiet corridor. The door opened a crack, a woman's face emerging, dark hair pulled back. Tired eyes, the faint crease of someone who worked nights.
Can I help you?
My name is Andrew. I knew your mother, Elizabeth. This belongs to you.
She took it, her fingers brushing the worn leather, eyes dropping to the cover without a flicker of recognition. He stood there a moment longer, waiting for an invitation that never came. Then the door closed. Andrew walked back down the hallway, the silence pressing in from all sides. Back in the motel, Andrew sat on the bed, his phone on the nightstand, silent as a stone.
Not a word, not a call. She's probably thrown it in the trash.
He ate a gas station sandwich in the parking lot, the neon sign buzzing overhead, and checked his phone 17 times.
I could leave, drive home, pretend this never happened.
But the thought of his empty house made him stay. He'd rather wait in dread than go home to nothing. Across town, Olivia sat cross-legged on her couch, the diary open on her lap, her tea gone cold.
My mother gave me away. Not because she didn't want me, but because she was terrified. And Andrew, he never knew.
She traced Elizabeth's handwriting with her finger, then closed the book and pressed it to her chest. Later, she called her adoptive mother, her voice breaking. "Did you know?" she asked. The answer only made the silence heavier.
I'm not sure I can face him, but I'm not sure I can let him go.
The third morning broke gray and heavy. Andrew packed his duffel with slow, defeated hands, ready to head home.
3 days. Not a word. I've pushed enough. Time to go.
He picked up his bag and turned toward the door. Then the phone on the nightstand lit up. The screen read Olivia. He grabbed it before the second ring. He pressed the phone to his ear. His breath held.
Are you still in town?
I'm here.
I read the diary. All of it. I think we should meet. There's a diner on Keeler, breakfast if you're willing.
I'll be there.
He ended the call. The motel room still sagged with cheap furniture, but it felt less like a cell now. He unzipped his bag, pulled out his shirt, and laid it on the bed. Tomorrow. She wanted to see him tomorrow. Andrew arrived at the diner before sunrise, his truck the only vehicle in the lot. He chose a booth by the window and waited. The air inside smelled of stale coffee and cleaner. A waitress poured him a cup without asking, and he wrapped his hands around it for warmth. The door chimed. Olivia stepped in, her gaze sweeping the booths until it landed on him. She walked over, and they shook hands, stiff, uncertain.
Glad you came.
Me too. I think.
They ordered eggs and toast, then sat in a pocket of silence so thick the clinking of forks felt like an intrusion.
Lot of miles between here and home.
I work overnight shifts at the firehouse. Not many people to talk to about weather.
She has Elizabeth's hands, the same way of folding a napkin.
The coffee cooled. The eggs grew cold. Neither of them mentioned the diary, as if the word itself might break the fragile calm. Olivia reached into her bag and set the diary on the table between them, her hand resting on the worn cover as if it were a heartbeat.
I wasn't sure I'd ever be ready to open this. In front of you, I mean?
You read it all?
Every word. Thank you for bringing it. I never knew any of this.
Neither did I. Not until 3 weeks ago when I found that shoebox and a load of junk for auction.
He told her about Elizabeth, the years after the stillbirth, the silence that settled into their marriage, the discovery that shattered everything he believed.
My adoptive parents loved me, but there was always a hollow I couldn't explain. I used to stare at my birth certificate and wonder.
Elizabeth never gave me the chance to look for you. I can't make up for that, but I'm here.
I think maybe that's enough for now.
The waitress poured fresh coffee. They didn't speak for a moment, but the silence had changed, less like a wall, more like a bridge under construction. The check arrived, a paper slip that landed on the table like a deadline neither was ready to cross.
I don't know what comes next, but if you ever want to talk again, I'd answer.
Maybe we could do this again. Not a promise, just a chance.
He pulled out his phone, and she did the same. 2 numbers traded like a fragile truce. Outside the diner, the morning sun had climbed full and warm. They stood a moment longer than necessary.
I'm glad you called, Olivia.
So am I. Drive safe back.
She turned and walked away, the diary tucked under her arm like something she refused to let go of.
Not a goodbye. Not really.
He climbed into the truck, sat for a long minute, then turned the key. The road ahead no longer felt empty. 2 weeks later, Andrew dialed Olivia's number. The call lasted 4 minutes. When he hung up, another Saturday breakfast was on the books. At the diner, Olivia laughed openly at his description of the auction, the torn tarps, the $2 towels. The awkwardness had thinned.
Last night we had a call Guy fell off a ladder hanging Christmas lights in July.
Were his lights okay?
They were not, but neither was his collarbone.
That 3rd Saturday turned into a 5th, then a 10th. Andrew circled each date on the kitchen calendar until the red ink formed a pattern.
You ever think about what we're supposed to call this?
Not really. I just like that you're here.
He learned her shifts, her coffee order, the names of her crew. She learned his garden, his dead wife's favorite songs, the weight he still carried. They never called it family, but every other Saturday, the diner booth held 2 people who refused to let go. 4 years of Saturdays, same booth, same waitress, the same 2 plates of eggs. The calendar was a grid of red circles.
We lost a kid last night, a 6-year-old. I sat in my car for an hour after shift.
Elizabeth used to say the garden was her therapy. She'd talk to the tomatoes like they could hear her.
I keep it in my nightstand. Some nights I just hold it.
The diary stayed with her, a silent witness to the life she'd built from scraps of a truth no one had told.
We're something. I don't need a word for it.
No one back home knew. Nicole never asked. The secret had become a quiet, rooted thing.
It worked. That was the strangest part. It just worked.
In Olivia's drawer beneath careful sweaters, the diary breathed with Elizabeth's handwriting and the years they'd never had. The diary had rewritten his marriage, but it had also given him this every other Saturday, no questions asked. Nicole swept in on a Thursday afternoon, already reenacting some office drama before she'd dropped her keys.
That reminds me, remember that junk auction you did? The one with Aunt Claire's stuff? I still tell people about it.
She pulled a fistful of change from her pocket, counting it onto the coffee table like a small fortune.
43 bucks, Dad? From a pile of junk nobody wanted. Best return on nothing I've ever seen.
If she only knew, that shoebox bought me 4 years of Saturdays.
I should have sent you to more auctions. We'd be rich.
She stacked the coins into a tiny tower, laughing at her own joke, while Andrew's smile was a mask decades thick.
Anyway, you should hear what my boss did yesterday.
She never asks. Never once. I count that as a mercy.
The conversation drifted to safer ground, and Andrew led it. The diary stayed with Olivia. After Nicole left, Andrew sat on the porch until the mosquitoes hummed and the sky went violet.
She'll never know. That's the deal I made with myself.
The diary belonged to Olivia now, tucked 3 states away in a drawer that didn't share his bloodline.
It's enough. More than enough.
Elizabeth's lie had split his life in 2, but the jagged edge had grown smooth with 4 years of Saturday mornings.
Every other Saturday, a diner booth, a woman who laughs like her mother. What else could a man ask for?
He never spoke Olivia's name under his own roof. That silence was a mercy he granted Nicole without her ever asking.
I'll carry this secret to my grave. It's the lightest weight I've ever carried.
The diary had rewritten his marriage, but it had also rewritten his remaining years into something warmer than memory. He sat until the stars came out, a man with 2 daughters and a secret that felt, finally, like a gift. They sat at the same booth, morning light spilling across the laminate table, the diner's familiar hum around them. Olivia's bag rested on the seat beside her, the diary's leather spine just visible through an open zipper.
You ever get tired of the same eggs?
I get tired of the calls, not the eggs.
She poured more coffee, and he told her about his garden, the tomatoes finally ripening.
Next year I'll plant cucumbers. You should come help.
I might take you up on that.
She laughed at something he said, a sound that carried no weight, no history, only the present. Outside, they parted with a brief embrace, the diary safe in her bag. Freeze frame, 2 smiles, no labels, a secret that had become their quiet rebellion against the past. The auction yard had long since emptied, its dust settled over the $43 Nicole still called profit. But Andrew knew better. One shoebox had held a truth that no auction could price. Elizabeth's diary still breathed in Olivia's drawer, a secret witness to the past. He never spoke her name in his own house, but every other Saturday he drove that old truck across state lines. Nicole never noticed the circles on the calendar, the quiet miles on the odometer, or the lightness in her father's step. Some secrets are curses, but this one, born from betrayal, had become a quiet covenant. Andrew never told Nicole. Olivia never asked for more. They simply kept meeting, 2 people who refused to be strangers, held together by ink and a leather spine. The diary that nearly broke him had, in the end, mended something he didn't know was broken. And in the diner booth, every other Saturday, a man with 2 daughters found peace in a secret that never needed a name.